No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of Iron. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of Iron.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel. This is a seltzer, and it's 100 degrees outside again. So I don't know how long this video is going to last. But we have four matches in the LPL LCK, and then we have a bunch of matches in Europe, 5 matches as per usual. So let's just get it started. Starting from the bottom, the team that I want to play the least tomorrow morning is DRX. And I think most of you know that I love DRX. But DRX keeps doing some dumb stuff for the kids. And they play Juhan a lot over Piosik. I don't understand why. I don't know if there is some conspiracy against me or Piosik. But, you know, if you're playing Juhan over Piosik, you're not trying to win matches. You're not playing at 100%. So I can't trust that. And I can't bet on them. I think that Damwon is too good to like throw away games like that. Which I'm not saying that Juhan can't win a game against Damwon. It's just, it's obviously not the best way to go about it. The play here, I think, are the unders. I'm not going to play the unders on Prize Picks, but if I was leaning one way or the other, it would be the unders. The reason is because Damwon is known for winning a lot of these matches with low kill scores, and if they are low kill score in their wins, the losing team is not going to have more kills than them. It's also going to be low kill. It's possible that this turns into a more high kill score match, but not very often. For DraftKings, I'm not playing DRX. I just don't think you need to do it. Let's go to the 7th team, and that's Thunder Talk. So tomorrow, Thunder Talk plays against Weibo Gaming, Hoya, Beishwan, Yukal, Kepler, and Yao Yao. Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. That's what I'm saying to you today. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it did anyway. That was an accident too. I'm sorry. So Thunder Talk is a plus 300 dog to Weibo Gaming. This is a great spot for Thunder Talk to win plus 1.5 maps. I don't trust them from a DraftKings perspective. I'm not going to play them. Kepler's playing. Yukal's playing. I think Yukal over is pretty easy. I think that's the one that I would want to play the most. Kepler over is what I would assume is the sharper side, because Thunder Talk, Weibo Gaming, when they lose, it's insanity. So I could easily see one of these games being a Thunder Talk upset win. Not the match, but one of the games. Weibo has a lot of 2-1s. So I would consider them on Prize Picks at the 3.5 and the 4.5, but I will not be playing them on DraftKings. I don't think that they win the match. I would bet them at plus 1.5 maps. Then we have our next team, Sandbox, Live Sandbox, and this is an interesting one for me. 2.5 is so low. 3.5 is so low. I feel like you have to play Prince over. He is the one that's most likely to go over. The question is, will they be aggressive enough in the early game to force Gen.G into bad spots in the mid and late game? It's really on the less talented team, or the team that's the underdog, to force the issue and make aggressive plays in the early game. In the match yesterday, Kwangdong was losing to T1. The game was very close, but it looked inevitable that T1 was going to outscale them. And they got a kill on Zeus, I think, and they just didn't push the advantage. They didn't go for Baron, and I think they ended up losing that team fight, the Baron, and the game. So those are the kinds of things that you want to see from underdogs, is that they understand when they are playing from an advantageous spot, or when it's their last opportunity to do something in the game. You want them to kind of go for it. So like I said, I think Closer and Prince on the over is the better side than the under. I'd be really afraid to play 2.5 or 1.5, 2.5 or 3.5 under. If you think it's going to be a sweep and a low kill score sweep for Gen.G, then you could consider that angle. I hope that Sandbox kind of plays aggressive. I don't think they're on the same level as Gen.G. Maybe they take a game but I kind of doubt it. I wouldn't bet on it. Next up, in the 5 spot, we have a surprise team, probably. I think that I don't really want to play V5 tomorrow. I like Xiaolong Bao. I think he's a good jungler. Rich, Xiaolong Bao, Rookie, Photic, PP God against LNG, Pandasy, Tarzan, Duembi, Light Lumao. I think that LNG has been playing better and better. V5 has been relatively consistent. They seem like they're just steady and won't be making gigantic mistakes. And I don't think that Xiaolong Bao being in the main roster tomorrow is going to change that. I just think that LNG is probably undervalued anyways in this spot. That's kind of why I'm a little upset that Karsa isn't playing. It would make that the disparity between the high opinions of V5 and the undervaluing of LNG. It would create more of a gap there, so there'd be more of an advantage to play off of. So if you told me that LNG ended up getting really close in the money line because people were upset that Karsa wasn't playing, then maybe I would flip onto V5. But I think I just want to bet. I think plus 342 is a pretty good number. Plus 1.5 maps is easy, and you're probably getting right around even money on it. So I think you definitely have to bet the 1.5. For V5, we have Rookie at 6, and we have Photic at 9.5. I would say under 9.5 for Photic. I don't know what I think how bloody it would get. I think that Xiaolong Bao playing reduces the ceiling a little bit. There will be more opportunities for Tarzan to kind of just jungle diff and kind of force it into a lower kill score situation, which would be beneficial for LNG. So yeah, I think that I have to change this. I don't really believe that though. All right, so we have V5. Like I said, under for Photic. On DraftKings, I'm not playing it. I think it'll be relatively popular. I'm only playing one lineup tomorrow probably. Next up in the 4 slot, we have Weibo Gaming. So this is the kind of night where you have Gen G as a seemingly large favorite at minus 833, pretty insane. You also have Weibo at minus 435. That doesn't feel as far away. A lot of these matches don't feel like they should be this big of underdogs. But Weibo, I think Weibo is very likely to drop a game tomorrow, which is going to make their prize picks situation a little sketchy. So we have Huan Feng at 8.5, and then Angel at 7. I think the unders are probably the right side if you think they're going to drop one of those first 2 games, and I do think that. But for DraftKings, I think that Weibo Gaming makes a lot of sense. I'd rather play Weibo Gaming on DraftKings than V5. I might even want to play them more than our next team, Damwon Kia. So let's talk about Damwon. So Damwon minus 250 against DRX. The reason why I'm afraid of playing Damwon tomorrow is because this seems like a perfect spot for them to have low kill scores. DRX, running out the 2 different junglers. I guess that would probably be better if Juhan was actually the one playing. I feel like he gives a higher death upside. When Piosik is in the game, if he's in a losing position and they feel like they're trying to win through the jungler, it's going to be very low interactions, and we don't want that for prize picks, and we don't want it for DraftKings. So, like I said, I could almost see it being Weibo Gaming 3rd, Damwon 4th. It's relatively close. So for Damwon, we have Showmaker at 5.5, Deokdam at 7.5. I would say Deokdam under is the one that I prefer. I think that if Damwon was trying to play more aggressively, it's going to happen with Showmaker playing champions that can roam to the side lanes more easily, support Canyon, get Canyon ahead. Canyon had a game the other day where he could have ended the game with 10 kills, but the game got remade. So he's playing pretty well right now. The whole team is playing well right now, just in general. Next up, we might as well just keep it moving. Dom Juan's in a good spot for the team slot. I will say that. The team slot's good for them tomorrow. Then we have our second team, the team that comes in second place for teams that I want to play tomorrow, and that's LNG. I like LNG in this spot for an upset. I don't fully believe that they can 2-0, but as long as they make that loss bloody, and the other two games are bloody and competitive, then this should be very easy to hit the overs for Doinby and Light. The 3 and the 4.5 number, I feel like they're begging you to play it, but I kind of want to anyways. The reason I think that they want people to play it is Prize Picks and like the sports betting companies in general might just think, oh, LNG is surviving based on name recognition of a couple of these players. They're really not that good, or at least they don't think that they're good. And V5, pretty steady team, should be able to take care of LNG pretty easily. But I think that's just not the case. I think that LNG and V5 will be thought of very similarly by the time we get to the end of the season. I'm a big believer in LNG long term. Well, at least for this year. I don't know what they're going to do with their roster next year. But this is a spot that I like a decent amount. So I think Doinby and Light on the over. I think that you could easily play them as secondary stacks, easily play them as the primary stacks. It's going to give you a ton of extra money to play, Weibo Gaming as your primary stack, or our final team, Gen G. So this is the kind of matchup where you want Gen G every year or every split. There are a couple spots where I think Gen G just goes completely off, and I don't know for this for sure, but I would assume it happens in situations where you have a team that is not in the top 4, who thinks they should be in the top 4 or thinks that they're a good team and has been playing well. They want to show that they can go toe to toe with the big teams, and that's when Gen G just kind of slaps them down. And I kind of feel like that's the direction we're headed tonight. I do like Sandbox in some ways. I think that Prince is a good player, and I like that. It's a new young player that everyone can kind of root for, and let's see how his career goes. But he does have that playmaking upside, which is pretty impressive. Closer, a good young mid laner, so they're not complete pushovers. But I think that they probably have that mentality that this game is a game that they're not supposed to win. Let's just be aggressive and try to learn something for the future, because if we're going to be successful against a team like Gen G in the future, we need to kind of push them in the early game, mid game, fight them for everything, and make sure that we can actually go toe-to-toe with them, or at least prove it to themselves on stage that they can, because if you run into them in the playoffs, you don't want it to be your first time where you're trying to play aggressive in the early game on stage against a team of Gen G's caliber. So Chovy at 6.5. I mean, if you want to be optimistic about the match, you could say over for both of them. Gen G doesn't need to win that way, so it really comes down to what is your read on Sandbox from an aggression standpoint in the early game. So, I think that the under is probably the better side if you expect them to lose one of the first 2 games. But this could be just like yesterday. Yesterday we said anyone's Legends and FPX, you can kind of stack it all together and just, hopefully it goes off. I think at 2.5 and 3.5, you could kind of do the same thing. So if you wanted to play Chovy, Closer, Ruler, Prince, over on all 4 of them, and then pick your favorite one from somewhere else. Showmaker, Zika, Rookie. I'd say probably Doinby over. Or Doinby over. Doinby or Light. Light is probably more likely to go over. So this is something that I would look at tomorrow. Is like a game stack again. I don't know how often I would recommend doing something like this, but when you have a team that is an underdog who has 2 very low numbers but is kind of being potentially misjudged by the sportsbook, then they're gonna hang a line that's not indicative of the actual winning chances of a single match or of a single game within a match. and that would kind of boost their expectations. If they win one of the first 2 games, Closer and Prince will hit the over. Like, I feel like that's almost guaranteed. So the question would be, how bloody is Gen.G going to play from behind? And I think the answer would be bloody, because they probably feel like they could beat them even from losing positions. So let's run through that again real quick. So the team I want to play the least is DRX. I don't want to play Thunder Talk. Sandbox, I understand why some people might want to, but I'm not doing it. V5, I think that I want to play against them being this like steady, consistent team. This could be a good upset for LNG against them. Weibo Gaming, I could see Weibo Gaming being anywhere in this top 4. Like if you wanted to tell me, I think Weibo Gaming has the highest upside because Thunder Talk is going to be aggressive. Like, I could see that. No problem there. Damwon at the 3 spot, if you told me that they're going to play super passive because they know DRX isn't going to force the issue, I could see that as well. LNG, if you say that, my talent evaluation is wrong and that these players like Tarzan and Doumbia are past their prime or something. Lumao starting, that's interesting. Then, give that one a shot. They're going to be good this entire year, though. And then the team I want to play the most is Gen.G, although I am slightly afraid that it could hit the under if Sandbox isn't playing aggressive. So let's talk about the LEC real quick tomorrow. So from a betting perspective, SK is the better team than Team BDS. I think that plus 127 is a pretty good number for BDS, though. That's a no bet for me. If it was like 140, 150, I think just optically it would look much easier to click that button. Misfits against XL. I think XL is still a little overrated. Misfits is probably not underrated anymore. I think everybody's kind of understanding that Misfits is still a solid team, has pretty good talent. Vetio is a very good player. Schlatan is still one-dimensional, but the top laner's been playing okay. So they've kind of figured it out at this point. So good for them. I would be willing to take them as an underdog again. They should not be listed as a favorite. The line is maybe a little too close. Again, I guess I wouldn't bet it or include it in a part of a parlay. This is a spot where you get exposure to it by playing it on DraftKings. I think that's the much better play. Vitality against Mad Lions. I have to play Mad Lions here, or I have to play Vitality here. I just believe that they're the more talented team overall. Mad Lions has a lot of fanfare surrounding them. The fact that they have Niski, I know a lot of people like Niski, and it's helped El Yoya a considerable amount, but I'm going to go against that once again. Then we have G2. G2 against Astralis. I'm always going to be on G2 there. And then Rogue against Fnatic. I think this is a spot where, again, I'm seemingly betting against Fnatic like every week, so I got to keep doing it. So we're gonna put in Rogue tomorrow, and that's basically it. It's still 100 degrees outside. I'm gonna eat this seltzer. I'm gonna drink this seltzer, have some dinner, and sit in the air conditioning because it's way too hot outside. So thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you later.